Republicans who want to impeach would certainly seem to have the support of their base. A CNN poll over this summer, July, 57% of Republicans said they backed a move to impeach the president. And that is, of course, before the details of this impending executive action became clear. The president and congressional Republicans are on, as of now, a very clear collision course, and neither side seems have any interest in swerving. Joining me now, former Secretary of Labor in the Clinton administration, Robert Reichhhh. He's the author of Aftershock. His film is Inequality for All. And Bob, you were in the Clinton administration. You've been writing about and thinking about the Obama administration. You've been in contact with people inside there. What do you make of the president over this last week and a half in the posture he's adopted?
Chris, I think we are finally seeing a president who is free. He's free of not only him ever having to run again. I mean, he was free of that in the last election, but he's also free of having to protect vulnerable Democrats. The midterms are over. He doesn't have to worry about vulnerable Democrats. They were vulnerable, they lost, or they hung on. He also doesn't have to worry about Republicans. What's the worst that the Republicans in Congress can do? They can try to shut the government down. Well, they tried that. Look what that earned them. Or they can try to impeach him. Well, I can tell you from the Clinton years that when the Republicans who took over Congress beginning in 1995, when they tried to shut the government down, and they did, and then they tried to impeach Bill Clinton, and they did in the House, what did that do? It increased Bill Clinton's standing in the public dramatically, and he left the White House in very, very good shape. It helped even the party. I think that the president simply feels there is no way he can lose right now.
You know, this point about impeachment that you just made is one I've heard from Republicans and conservatives on and off the record. They cite Clinton as a kind of disaster for Republicans. And at one level, I really don't want there to be impeachment. My own sort of feeling about the health of the republic, having two successive Democratic two-term presidents impeached by Republican houses, I think would be an awful precedent for our sort of constitutional integrity, frankly. But there's also the case that you cannot put it past the base of the Republican House in getting their way. And we saw that with the shutdown. And it seems that what has developed just in 10 days since the elections is things moving towards some kind of cataclysmic confrontation.
Well, they may be moving in that direction. It also may be that they have not a shred of memory left from what happened in the 1990s when they impeached Bill Clinton. I would not be surprised if a lot of them had no memory, or they had even no institutional memory. Let them go ahead and try. It is bad for the country. I agree with you completely, Chris. It would be bad for the country, bad institutionally, but a lot of Republicans don't seem to worry about the institutions of government. That's the problem we've had with them. And maybe if they try to impeach the president, not because of anything that he did illegally, not because of what Richard Nixon did. I think that most people agree historically that he deserved to be impeached, or at least the threat of impeachment drove him out of office. But here we have a president who is doing his job, and if the Republicans disagree, just like they did with Bill Clinton, and if they want to really sacrifice the institutions of government, let the public see them try to do that.
Let me play devil's advocate for the other side, and it's not even devil's advocate. I think there's an argument here. Republicans are saying, look, we just trounced Democrats in the midterms. We're going to have historic margins in the House, largest since the 1920s. We're going to have a 55 or so vote majority in the Senate. This was a rebuke of the president's politics. And here he is, 1, 2, 3, a week, 7 days after, basically telling us to screw off and basically saying, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm not listening to you. Is there something anti-democratic about that? Is there something offensive about that, as Republicans say?
Well, let's look at specifically what the president has talked about doing. I mean, he says he's not very excited about the Keystone XL pipeline. He wants to let that process move forward. There's nothing illegal about that. He wants to join the Chinese in trying to reduce carbon emissions. What's illegal about that? He's talking about net neutrality. I don't know what's illegal about a president moving forward on net neutrality. He's talking about an immigration executive order that is just codifies administrative discretion in terms of how you use scarce enforcement resources. There's nothing illegal about any of this. The mere fact that the Republicans are making such a huge deal out of the fact that the president is acting presidential, to me, suggests that they don't want him to have any presidency at all over the next 2 years.
Robert Reichhhh, thank you. Always a pleasure.